At what's making headlines in the newspapers this morning, and we start with The Citizen.
Right, here we go. So, picture of the police out in full force. Cele's cop-out is what they say. Police Minister Becky Cele's action plan for Westbury protests leaves some residents cold, with an expert warning he is not addressing the root of the problem. It's a bit of a worry. Interventions announced by the Minister of this deployment of a tactical response team in the neighbourhood have received mixed reactions from the community and an experts, with doubts that it'll be effective. They quote a woman. Well, no, they don't quote the woman. This is all after the death of a 41-year-old woman. Cele said while there were several task units within the area, the response team would be permanently deployed, but members who asked to remain anonymous fear for their safety, and they were very divided on this announcement. That's a little bit worrying for the community. Then on page 2, we talk about the job summit. Cyril, buying local is lacquer. The president has adopted a South Africa first approach to growth and trade to boost the ailing economy. Buy only South Africa is what the president is saying. Well, we'll see if that happens. And
some saying it's a bit Trump-esque, but I suppose there are worse things that could be done.
I think so.
So, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, and moving on, and next is the Sowetan.
Okay, Sowetan, there we go.
Oh, you can take it. You've read it.
I'm having a look at it, and well, actually, I'm reading a story that isn't on the front page. I'm just looking. No, it is on the front page. It's that HIV-positive mom's liver saves child, because we've got the surgeon coming into studio in the next hour. I cannot wait to talk to him. This is a first for South Africa, first for the world, actually, using a part of the mother's liver into the baby, the newborn baby who was really about to die. And this baby, which is quite miraculous, has not gotten HIV. So even though she has a part of her mother's liver who is HIV positive, this child is not showing any signs that she has gotten HIV positive. So it's a
feel-good story, that one.
Yes, a Friday story. I love it. And then, of course, the big story is drugs shortage hits newborns. Babies and moms kept for longer in hospital as medicine crisis worsens, and the Health Minister, Aaron Motsoaledi, urged to investigate Limpopo mess. And the photograph just breaks my heart. You know, when you are vulnerable and in hospital and you're not feeling well and you're made to lie on the floor on a blanket with it's atrocious. The health system is atrocious.
That we are normalizing this type of abnormality.
Nothing is normal.
That is the problem.
Mothers lying in passageways on the floor, trying to just save their child or their children, because there's just there's nothing for newborns. There's no medication. That's the story on the Sowetan.
All right, moving on. Excuse me. Next, we have Business Day, and a summit deal to create 275,000 jobs a year. Final agreement commits government to an undertaking that there will be no retrenchments in the public sector. And we know there's been a lot of talk about cutting around 30,000 jobs in the public sector. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. But of course, 275 jobs, we've heard promises of job creation before. There was talk about 500,000 jobs being created. Still waiting for that, and we'll see where the 275,000 goes. Sanral, they plan to raise 600 million rand, and they have been crippled by the refusal of Gauteng drivers to pay the controversial e-tolls, and now they want to raise about 600 million rand in capital markets in order to fund capital projects, because they haven't been able to do any maintenance or other works because people are simply not paying e-tolls. And also on that front page, Post Office misses deadline, but a backlog mountain lower. The South African Post Office remains snowed under by a backlog of mail accumulated in July's strike. The strike back in July. And with 16 million items on the floor at depots around the country.
So that's where my husband's gift is.
No, and I saw in one of the other papers, I'm just not sure which one it is, where the Post Office is saying, if you are planning on sending a package overseas, you better send it now. If you don't send it now, it ain't getting there by Christmas. So just so you know.
I'm still waiting for a birthday present I bought for my husband overseas, because we just couldn't find it here.
When was his birthday?
I can't find it. No, listen, I'm still within a good period. We've only been
It's still
waiting
coming.
a month.
Oh,
I mean, it's only a month.
okay.
I've still got another 6 months to go.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
And then there's the Mail and Guardian, the Star, Ama Berete for Westbury War. That's also covered in all of the papers. Interestingly, if I can just, attach to this what the Beeld is running with this morning.
Yeah.
And they're saying, Skokwer SAPD Boewe. 1,172 police officers who have been fired over 5 years, and this is what they were fired for. 230 corruptie, that's corruption. 29 verkrachting, the rape, and 78 for murder. So Bill broke that down quite nicely this morning, so I thought that's interesting.
Wow.
And of course, the Nhlanhla Nene story, Nene whispers, here's the real story, and Mail and Guardian going in on these allegations around Nhlanhla Nene and his son and the PIC. Remember, as Deputy Finance Minister, you then become the chairperson of the PIC, and how that loan was then made to his son. And it reminded me of when Bantu Olomisa was here around the whole Harith and Libashe story and how that was unethical.
Sure.
So similar type of story there,
that
seemingly to unfold.
And I know you're going to be taking that a lot further.
Indeed,
you've
we
got
are.
Your guest there.
We will be talking about that shortly. Political analyst Koko Aubrey Machikli, he's already here, and of course hoping to be joined by the EFF's Mwiseni Ndlozi as well. So that is still to come.
All right, it's time for an ad.